Morning guys, Joe here. Welcome to T&D Video Games. We are at the store bright and early. We've got our retro hat, retro inspired hoodie, and we are ready to go. We've got a busy day ahead of us, guys. We have all the trades from last week that we have to price and put into the store. And we acquired a nice collection with a lot of GameCube, Super Nintendo, and PlayStation stuff. So we're gonna go through that, price that out, photograph that for Facebook and Instagram, and we'll take a video of it and give you an overview of what came in over the last week or so. Okay, so here are the highlights of what came in last week. We actually received a lot more than this. However, these were the only items we didn't already have in the store that need to go in. So starting with the Genesis, Jurassic Park, Earthworm Jim, great game, Golden Axe, WrestleMania, and then some sports titles here. Everyone knows Genesis was the system to play your sports games on.
Genesis does.
Who does the hottest ever video football game you've been waiting for?
Genesis does.
Who does real 16-bit sports action like only the world's greatest quarterback can?
And then down here, an obscure 64 game in the Zone 2000 NBA. So we don't have this in stock until now, and definitely one you don't see every day. Lots of great games here. Dante's Inferno, Epic Mickey, and scrolling down. Little Big Planet 2. We usually have the first one in stock. Part 2 and 3 are harder to get, so happy to get that in. NCAA football, Plants vs. Zombies, Ridge Racer 7. The 2 Red Dead games, very popular right now that they're remaking it. 2 Rock Band games, a couple of Skylanders games. And moving down, we've got some Atari 2600 games. We've got Pac-Man and Spider Fighter, which I've never heard of. Actually looks really cool. It looks kind of like Galaga. This looks like a lot of detail for an Atari 2600 game. I'm curious to see if this one's any good. Terminator 2, the arcade game for the Genesis. All the Genesis games are complete, I should mention. And then a couple of NES games here, some PS4 games, the Lone 360 title, and a couple of PS2 games, and the ever manly pink Wii remote. We've got a couple of guitars for the PS2. 5-6 years ago when we opened, we could not give these away, and now there's a huge resurgence of people wanting to play Rock Band and Guitar Hero. So happy to get these in. These are the only PS2 guitars we have in the store right now. And next thing to show, guys, is some restock on some PS2 and PS1 controllers. We got the silver one, clear blue, and we've got the black DualShock 2 here, and then we've got an OG DualShock for the PS1. So always nice to have those in stock. They've been selling really well lately. So just pulling some client requests. So we have someone looking for Dreamcast and Sega Saturn consoles. Great underrated systems in my opinion, and we don't often have both of them at the same time, so good opportunity for this person to come in and grab these. We had someone else looking for a replacement power cord for a 2DS. Unfortunately, Nintendo stopped supplying power cables with their newer systems, so oftentimes we get them traded in without the cable. So we have these official replacement ones here. So hopefully that does the trick. And then we've got someone looking for Need for Speed games for the 360. So quite a few there. And we've got someone looking for Mario Odyssey for the Switch. So we'll get back to those people and see what's up. So after an uneventful morning, first big walk-in today, we've got some sealed PSP stuff. The collector's edition here is sealed. Dragon Quest IV for the DS. Couple of NES games. And then lots of amazing PSP games. These are all complete, minty fresh. Lots of nice RPGs in this lot. And then this whole pile here is also sealed. So Dragon Quest games, Star Ocean, Lunar. Gentleman who sold us these had great taste in games. Says he has more he's slowly culling, so hope to see him again, because this is some great stuff, guys. Happy to get this stuff in today. Hey guys, so finally getting around to putting in the big lot that Dave picked up a week or so ago. And as you can see, we barely had room on the counter for all this stuff. Just lots of nice additions to the store here. So we go all the way to the end there. So we're going to quickly highlight what came in. So nice clean Super Nintendo system. Always good to get those in. Selling really well lately. Lots of GameCube. If you're a complete set collector, a lot of obscure stuff you don't see a lot. Nothing crazy valuable. But again, lots of good GameCube for you collectors out there. And my favorite game, Mary Kate and Ashley Sweet 16. Real games for real girls. One of Joe's favorites right there. And moving up here, we've got a nice Nintendo 2DS XL, complete in box. And then lots of nice GameCube here. Again, lots of stuff you don't see all of the time. This will effectively double our GameCube section. And then moving on, lots of nice Wii stuff, lots of Mario games. Lots of nice Wii and one lone Wii U game at the bottom. And moving over, nice Super Nintendo, lots of good staple games there. Donkey Kong, Ken Griffey, Mortal Kombat, Mario Kart, Mario World, WrestleMania. And then moving on to some DS stuff. Lots of nice DS stuff and 3DS. And then moving on, we've got lots of nice PS3. So probably not a lot here that we'll add to the shelf because we just collected a lot of PS3 lately. So a lot of these will probably be doubles, but always good to shore up our PS3 overstock. And then stretching over to the PS4 and the lone PS5 title up top. And then some nice PS2 there. Burnout 2, great game. The Midnight Clubs, Need for Speed, all popular. So overall, great lot. And we're going to get to work pricing this. We have people looking for some of the GameCube games, so we're going to get back to them. And we're going to get this all into the store. And just going through the GameCube stuff and... bonus. Throw me a frickin' bonus here. Hey guys, so we are live here from my basement, also known as T&D Studios. We had a crazy busy day after processing that first trade that I showed you. We were able to price the large collection that we were filming. However, that took me until about 6 o'clock and then I had to head home. We got a pile of trades in the afternoon and I'm excited to show you guys what those were. So we're gonna take everything, bring it down here and process it, and then we'll bring it back to the store in time for the next Sunday. So as you can see here, we've got a little bit of a mess. So this is all the stuff we have to go through that came in. So we're gonna go through all these Game Boy carts that we got, and then there's some miscellaneous stuff here. A bunch of complete Game Boy and Super Nintendo in here, and some DS, some PS1. And then we got this nice GameCube collection, and some Wii and some Switch. So we're gonna line all this stuff up and we're gonna go through it. I'm gonna watch my favorite YouTuber while I get all this done. Okay guys, so we've got the first big trade that came in. So as you can see here, this took quite a while to go through and obviously didn't have time to photograph and price all of this while I was at the store, but I can give you a peek at it right now. So starting at the back, we've got a bunch of DS games, all complete, nice variety there. GameCube console, and then we got all of these loose Game Boy games. So these all came in a nice binder. Really cool to go through these. Lots of these we don't have, so really happy to get those. And then the same person had a huge binder of Game Boy Advance games. So lots of nice titles here. And then lots of loose DS at the bottom. Now one thing you'll notice is none of these are really high end, which is fine by me because these are the type of games that sell well in our store. And now looking at the back here, Jungle Book complete on the Super Nintendo. Friday the 13th, good timing to get that in with Halloween coming around the corner. And Mortal Kombat 3 complete. And then a couple of sealed Super Nintendo games. Nothing crazy there, but kind of neat to get those in. And some portable systems here. Always good to get those. We got a PS1 Mini and some PS1 games here, highlighted by Apocalypse starring Bruce Willis. And then we got some nice complete in box stuff, all very good condition. So you see Mario Advance there, Smurfs for the Game Boy, Super Mario Brothers, Little Mermaid, Land Before Time, I believe that is sealed, Bust a Move 4, and Final Fantasy V Advance, which has the shrink wrap on it. It is open, but it is in very good condition. The only real dud in this lot is the typical problem with this here. E-jack button doesn't work. Stuck. It's kind of like Pac-Man. but we'll fix that up and get it ready for sale. Tested it, it works great. So overall, beautiful lot to get in. So one thing I find frustrating is pretty much 90% of the time we get one of these PS1 or PS1 minis into the store, the reset button or eject button is stuck and needs to be fixed. Luckily, it's an easy fix, but just frustrating that a giant electronics company like Sony can make something that breaks so easily. So I kind of call this like the Pac-Man problem. Ah, don't eat me! Waka, 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 waka. Okay guys, the next significant trade we got in was this nice GameCube and Wii lot. And as you can see, we also got an e-reader with some cards.
The game is inside the cards. New e-reader for Game Boy Advance. Slide the cards to play some of your favorite games.
And then going back up here, we got Bubble Ghost for the Game Boy. Don't know a lot about that game. I know the soundtrack's amazing. I've heard it's a good game, but not too familiar with it. So maybe someone can let me know in the comments if that's one that's worth picking up. And then we got Mario Party 4 complete. Always nice to get the Mario Party games. They sell extremely well for us. And I don't believe we have a copy of 4 in stock. So happy to get that. Double Dash. Always nice to get Double Dash. That's my favorite Mario Kart game. I think it's the best one in the series. So let me know what you think, guys. What's your favorite Mario Kart game? And then we got a nice Wavebird and console here with the memory card. The Wavebird has the adapter. Nice official controller there that came with this system. And then a few more games over here. Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine, Dance Dance Revolution, and then some Wii titles. So always good to get some Mario Galaxy and Mario Party in, and a couple of Wii remotes. So again, this person had a Wii console as well. We did take it in, however, I kind of let them know the value was in the games and the controllers. Just too many Wiis right now. But overall, great lot to get. Happy to get this in. Okay guys, so the other significant trade we got in was these here. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and left the sticky notes on. So person came in, and I just want to preface, we had a great conversation about pricing and price charting and all that stuff. But she had come into the store with stickies on every game. So kind of mentioned, these are the price charting prices. I'm expecting, half the value here. And so what I did is I kind of made 2 piles. So all of the Switch stuff over here. So you see some good games here. Sonic Colors, Owlboy, which is a great indie style 2D platformer. The No More Heroes games. Desk Diver, I believe. Not too familiar with that game. It looks like something obscure and rare that is valuable and someday will become valuable. However, very niche product, so will be a tough sell in our store. And then these games over here. So what I had done is kind of explained to her, this stuff here, pretty sellable. This game, debatable. Most of your value is going to be here. Kind of explained to her that for most of these, I would have to charge less than what these prices are. And then kind of built the quote out from there. And then I made another pile here and just kind of added that these are not really good sellers for us, and we have lots of these in stock. So these are typically the type of games we would sell at our outdoor sale for $2, $3, maybe $5 at the most. So just can't pay a lot for those right now. So we had a great conversation. She was happy with the trade value and actually picked up some nice stuff. So just to kind of highlight someone coming in with expectations, we have a conversation, and it actually goes well. So really, really smooth transaction, and was happy to get this stuff in for the store. And just realized we forgot to put Astro Boy in the picture. So this was one of the games we were able to give some value for. Obscure PS2 game, we don't get that often. So again, that went into the, I would call it good pile. And then these guys over here went into the not so desirable pile. Don't ever want to say bad, we'll just say not so desirable. Okay guys, and this is the last kind of little bit of stuff that came in. This was 4 or 5 different small trades or purchases. First one was a DJ Hero with a couple of games here. So couldn't give a lot for that, but happy to get the DJ Hero. We actually don't have one. It does take up a lot of room, but it's a great item to save for one of our outdoor sales where we have more space. And then another vendor in the flea market actually sold me these. So a couple of nice DS lights, very good condition, both worked well, and Wipeout 64. And then a nice copy of Back to the Future, the game for the PS3. That's one you don't see that often. So a lot of these will be bundle games for our outdoor sale. And then always nice to get Rock Band, Beatles Rock Band, Guitar Hero World Tour. Those are selling well, so I'll always take those if I can get them. The people who sold the Wii nunchucks, they actually brought in a box of 4 Wii systems. It was just the systems and a few accessories. And again, really, really tough to say no to people, but have to explain to them that the consoles are kind of worthless without games and controllers to us. So happy to grab these though. Nunchucks are always selling. We're always running out, so happy to grab those. Okay guys, so we got through all of those trades that I had to bring home with me, and just wanted to do kind of a little recap of the day. It was a holiday, obviously Labor Day, so it was actually pretty slow in the morning, and sales were pretty low compared to average, but we were still pretty busy. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because we did a lot of buying. So actually not having a lot of customers to sell to made it a lot easier to make the deals to buy the stuff. So everything went smoothly there. So pretty happy about that. For what kind of sold, that piqued my interest throughout the day. Another copy of Pikmin for the GameCube. So that game is still really popular, riding off the success of the 4th game that was just released on the Switch. We sold an original Xbox system, which I'm surprised doesn't sell more. I really don't understand it. Great system. Typically the multi-platform games run best on that system. So great to sell the original Xbox. And then we also sold a lot of Vita. So again, Vita gaining popularity. We do have one customer who comes in pretty regularly. She's looking for basically going for a complete set. So she grabbed a copy of Shovel Knight, and great Vita game. Is actually my personal copy that I sold to the store when I was done with it. Great game to play on the bus when we've got a 2-hour-a-day commute. So happy that she picked that up. She seemed very happy with it. Another collector came in who I haven't really seen before. Picked up a lot of stuff highlighted by Contra and Super C. So hot take, I think Super C is better than the original Contra. I know most people like the original, but to me Super C is the more polished, better game. And we were also able to help out one of our regulars, Mel, find a Ratchet and Clank game for the PS3. I believe it was All for One. So happy to help her complete her Ratchet and Clank collection on the PS3. And finally, we sold a Dreamcast Zapper, which don't sell a lot of Dreamcasts. Very cool, underrated system. So Shane, one of our regulars, always nice to see Shane. Always nice to see you guys. Great purchase on the Dreamcast Zapper. Really only ever had that maybe once or twice since we've opened, so really cool to sell that. Overall, a great day. One thing I did want to talk about, I mentioned it in the trade video. We had someone come in kind of with the expectation of a percentage based on price charting. It's really difficult for me because yes, price charting is a guide to value games. However, we have games that we have to price under price charting in order to sell. And then we have games that we can price above price charting just because the local demand for them dictates that. It was interesting when she came in with all the little sticky notes on every game telling me what the value was and, you know, it should just be half of that and call it a day. It was actually nice to explain to her kind of how we value things. I don't typically do this, but I actually kind of showed her a breakdown of the quote. Just when there's a lot of items, I don't really have time to, you know, if you bring 100 things in, I'm not in a position to tell you what the value of each one is. It's a bit cumbersome to do that, but she only had about 12 things. So actually kind of drew back the curtain and said, you know, here's how I come up with the quote. So it wasn't really what each game was worth. It was more, here's what the good stuff is worth, and here's what the stuff that I don't really need right now is worth. And she actually came away with a knowledge of how we price our stuff and how we value things for trade-in. So it was actually nice to have a conversation. It didn't escalate. There was no one was upset. She picked up some Vita stuff and I believe a pink Game Boy Advance. So she seemed very happy with the stuff that she got. I was happy with the trade value. So again, it worked out. So I think a lot of times just educating the seller on how you're valuing something goes a long way to getting a deal done. And worst case, if she didn't like the offer, then she just takes her stuff and either sells it on her own or does whatever she wants with it. Again, there's no real ill will on our side if we don't get a deal done. Our goal is always to obviously get both parties happy and get a deal done, but if it doesn't work out, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So my question this week, guys, is what does your game store in your local area, how do they value things? Are they transparent with how they value things? I'm really curious to know, are they nice to you when you come in with stuff that they don't really need? Are they arrogant? Or do you have a typical conversation like I had where you kind of learn something and both people walk away happy? So yeah, would love to know how your local game store values stuff and what kind of what they're offering on trade-ins or buys. So always want to know how we're doing versus, not really versus, but compared to everyone else. Always want to know how we can do better. So would love to hear how your local store values items for trade-ins and how those interactions go. Cheers, guys. Look what we found. Nice dirty sock. So always appreciate people leaving extra stuff in the bag for me. Clearly prefer if it's gaming related. So going forward, guys, let's make sure our laundry is out of the video game bag before we bring it in to trade.